I didn't know what to paint, so I made a still life. And I think one of my big things is painting from life, whether you're doing plein air or whatever. But even in your home, your studio, you try to paint direct from life. So obviously, we can't do that all the time. So it's practice as well. So I went with what I had in my little fruit bowl. And I'll just jump in and get started. If you guys have any questions at any time, please ask. I don't have any issues with talking and painting at the same time. Sometimes I'll talk too much probably.
Many people I've seen who paint in oils always stain the can with burnt sienna. What's the purpose of that? And do you
That's just a tone.
just to get rid of the white?
Yeah, basically. Knock it back a value or whatever. I do that, but I didn't today. I can.
If you do that, do you always let it dry for you?
No. Sometimes I'll just jump in. So, right now, I left it white so that you guys can see it better. Because sometimes in film it's not the same.
Scott, I have a question. Are you going to share your palette?
No.
No?
Yes, I can share my palette.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
I'm a Rembrandt guy.
Okay.
This is like a warm gray. I use it sometimes.
No, but the one you're going to use
The
today.
ones I'm using today are burnt umber.
Raw umber?
Burnt.
Oh, burnt.
Ultramarine blue. What's this one? Rose Deep Matter. Permanent Matter Deep.
Like rose?
Permanent Matter Deep. They make another lighter one that's a rose, but
Okay.
we're not using that today.
Okay.
What's this one? Naples
Yellow?
Naples Yellow Red. That's a nice light, warm color to use that I like to use. Cadmium Red medium. Cad Orange medium. Cad Yellow medium. There's Viridian on there. Sap. Permanent Green Deep.
Permanent green?
Permanent Green Deep.
Never heard of it.
Well, I'm spoiled. I get paint given to me, so
Nice.
they're like, here, try this one. So
Are
I
you
try it
a
out.
representative of the company?
Yeah, I'm an ambassador with them.
Nice.
Where are they from?
Royal Talents is based for North America is based in Northampton, Mass, but Rembrandt is from the Netherlands. Cerulean blue. Yep, and a turquoise blue's on there as well, and then a titanium white. What's that? Carrier. The Carrier, they were supposed to make more of these, and they just never did. I think it was a cost thing at the time, but who knows? They're introducing new products as we speak. I stick with this. This is the product I know, and actually I've always loved Rembrandt. So I got the opportunity to work with them. I don't. Same with the brushes. So free paint, free brushes.
Hey.
Bingo.
Are they Rembrandt brushes or another?
No, they're Princeton Aspens.
Those are good.
Mostly use a filbert. So when I start, so for basically like something like this, I would start with, even if I'm not doing plein air, with like a burnt umber or a little bit of ultramarine in it, just for dark, just to draw with. 'Cause I'm just feeling it out. And I don't want it right in the middle. So, real fast, just trying to get it in. I mean, obviously, even with doing plein air stuff outside, I'm still trying to get a gist of the scene. Some are more complex, some don't take 2 minutes to draw. But it's the same idea though, feeling it out, getting my eye proportions in. So what I'm starting to do now, right, I'm honing in cleaning up my drawing, bringing in my shapes. And I'm going to start adding details, so I'm measuring my proportions, like shadow shape. This is a cast shadow from the lemon. And I'm looking at where it intersects with the line, kind of like down in this area. Then there's all this core shadow that's happening. Question, go for it.
You're using your oil straight out of the tube, you're not diluting them or?
No, I'm using Gamsol. Gamsol, it's a terp. It's an odorless mineral spirit.
Oh,
It's like using water,
okay.
basically.
Oh, I can use water on it.
Yeah,
Got it.
just nice and thin, so you can build up on top of it. This isn't all a prima painting, it's like all at once, Recognize what?
I need a cut haircut. It would be the same as using turpentine, right?
Yeah, the same thing. It's just, sure, this is Gamsol is more refined, so it's not as toxic, but it's still got, it's still toxic. It doesn't matter, it's a hidden smell. And the sad thing, this stuff settles, so like I use it sparingly. We're in a bigger room, so, but like if you have pets, I try to put my lid on while when I think about it, I put my lid on and I'm not using it. And then, because it's, the terps settle, so they're low. So like if you're using a heater in your studio while you're painting with it, that brings it up and you're breathing it in. Your pets are breathing it in because they're on the ground. So I try to have like the garage door cracked or,
Do you ever use the water soluble oils?
I have. I just haven't used them enough. I like them. They kind of, in a way it's like they're kind of rubbery is the feeling that I get with them. So I just haven't used them enough to say I don't think I'm good at it with it. If that makes any sense. start doing some of the shadows. I like this color because the complementary color with the orange. It's a little dark, but we can lighten it up a little bit. So instead of using white, I'm using that Naples yellow red. Because it's warm, right? And it's not white, so it grays it down. Whereas a white would it could make it too cool.
So could you share what you're thinking at this point?
Right now I'm looking at like the reflective light that's bouncing off of the table. I'm
Okay.
trying to get that in, like indicate it at least, you know? Because I only have an hour,
Gotcha.
you know, kind of vibe, so. Or, we haven't, how long do we have till?
3:15.
3:15? Okay.
We gotta be out of here.
So I'm gonna work on the tabletop. I'm like on this cool, like the complementary color of the shadows and stuff, so I'm gonna do some of the tabletop, and what I'm doing is I'm mixing the cool, or the blue, into what I was just using for the background. Kind of making the purple. Oh, that's way too dark. That's actually better. That's one of those happy accidents.
Are you painting on a canvas board?
Yes. I made it, so it's gator board and just your basic cotton canvas. Linen's too fancy for me.
What do you use to fix it onto the gator board?
Miracle Muck.
Oh.
That's what it's called. They used to be based in San Diego. I think they're in Texas now. So it just costs a lot when you buy it to get it shipped. But book glue works. Same kind of idea.
So the Miracle Muck, is that a liquid or a
Yeah, it's a
spray?
liquid glue. Liquid glue, you roll it on,
Okay.
pour it out, roll it all over so it's nice and even. Roll your canvas on it, smooth it all out, stack it with weight so it flattens out, it stays flat. Let it dry, and then you cut it up.
And it looks like your edges really match up, so does that happen, or do you trim after?
No, I like, this one is a little big, so that's why you see the red line on it. You see the red line on it? There's one right here.
Oh, gotcha.
Right, so that's just so I can fit it in frames easier. My measurement was a little off. I didn't look twice. Shit happens, man. He's in a hurry, come on. So as shadows go away, the cast shadow goes away, they lighten up because of reflective light coming into them. That's what I'm looking at right now. Just adjusting the value a little bit. Questions, anyone?
I noticed it doesn't look like any of the original sketching of the brown is getting picked up and mixed into the paint.
Yeah, I like that.
Is it because it's set up a little bit, or is that just because you're being really careful? Or?
I'm just trying not to mix in with it.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to paint on top of it.
Okay.
So you scrub, that's when you lift it up. So you lay a stroke down and leave it alone. You can go back in and move it around, but you just have to be careful. Try to paint on top as well, so you're not pushing in,
Oh, okay.
unlike being light-handed. It's pinky out stuff, it's like pinky out, oops, brown.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, exactly. I made the mistake of touching that spot. I was thinking about this spot.
not using any turf, are you? Just
No, there's a little bit in there.
There is?
Yeah. That's when I dip in here, that's what I'm going in for.
Okay.
I'm just using minimal, so.
So I'm obsessing over your canvas.
Go ahead.
All right, and so then once you apply the canvas to the backer board, then, the gator board, then you apply your gesso?
No, it's already gessoed.
Ah-ha.
That's gessoed canvas.
He's a vision man.
Yeah, but if you did that, it would shrink.
Aha,
Because when you gesso raw canvas,
right,
it shrinks.
there you go.
So you buy the canvas already gessoed? I didn't know you could do that.
What? Yeah, oh yeah.
How do you cut the gator board?
With a very sharp X-Acto lady guy. Utility knife. And a straight edge. Some people use a bandsaw.
Gator board is awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I learned that, like, you gotta watch the archivalness with stuff if you're concerned about that, but I'm not. Because these will be sticking around for years. You know, but the Craftsman one, the brown one, that's more archival than the black or white gator board. The black is,
Can you glue it after the painting is done?
sure,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, as long as it's gessoed, it's like if you go to if you paint on a gessoed canvas that you got from like from a
What
art
about
store.
rock and,
No, I wouldn't do that because it could shrink. When you paint on raw canvas, even with acrylic, it still shrinks. But if you glue that down, you're getting it wet.
so it's
It's
gonna,
gonna shrink as well, which would change the image, maybe. I don't get too scientific about paint and, I don't know. Uline,
Yeah.
yeah. They have like, I buy it in the smaller box. You get like 8 of them or whatever it is. Oh, did you see that? I lifted
Yeah.
up that. It's all right, it blends in with my muddy wall color anyways.
Yeah.
so you always paint when wet on wet?
Wet into wet?
Yeah,
Well, that's part of doing plein air, so yes, I do it a
Yeah.
lot. I'm actually more of a studio painter nowadays.
okay.
But, when I go outside, you're painting wet into wet.
Yeah.
What do you mean wet into wet with oils? I'm familiar with it with watercolors, but with oils, what does wet into wet mean?
Wet paint into wet paint, it's not set up yet.
Doesn't-
Oh, the paint stays all,
Yeah, like I'm painting right into wet paint right here.
I'm thinking wet into wet where you wet paint and then put your watercolors in the flows. It's a completely different meaning than this. I see.
And watercolors are weird.
Look out.
So you can't speak.
Watercolors are just weirdos.
Do you know what room you're standing in?
What?
Oh.
Oh. It's not a water.
Hey, I like watercolors. Actually own it. Okay. Now what? Guess we'll work on the orange shadows. You have any questions? Anybody?
I want to see that bright yellow cover up.
Well, we're gonna get there. We're working on a shot. We're gonna do some darks. We're building it up.
Okay.
Look, I got 40 minutes, 50 minutes. We're
Okay.
good. Don't worry, I'll get there.
Okay, so you're doing darks and you're building it up, and so, I guess the obvious question is,
The obvious
you
question.
you chose to do it this way for a reason.
Yeah, because
Yes.
when you take your light shapes and you go into, you don't want to mud it up, right? So I'm trying to be as clean as I can be and not get all like with,
So you're talking about
when you join things.
where it joins, where it
Yeah.
comes together.
Yeah, I will put that color in here and there with the light colors, but I'm just trying not, because I want my color, that yellow, and I want that orange to be,
Pristine.
yeah, that's my goal. Doesn't always happen though. So there's a little triangle, right, kind of shaped back here. That's coming from it's making a shadow coming from back behind it, bouncing back into it. So light, not a shadow, the light's coming from behind it, bouncing through it, which casts another shadow. These are things I try to look for, just because you're giving that one little extra, it's like you're paying attention. Because while we're painting, it's very easy, as you know, to get distracted and just be like, get in the flow. So, I think you have to interrupt the flow every now and then. And look, you know.
So what color are you gonna paint the table, since it's got a pretty hard shadow going here?
It'll be light, warm. See, there's a lot of warm light going through it.
You ever use the solvent-free gel?
Yeah, sometimes. I have.
What is
Gamblin
that?
makes a great one.
What is that?
It thins out the paint like the turquoise. It doesn't, it's not,
It's not,
Make it light.
it's, makes it more juicy.
yeah, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
Juicy.
There you go.
Wow.
So I'm using, I use cat orange, and I have the ultramarine blue on the palette already, mixed in with some of the other colors going on in the background. Mix those to make the base dark. Now I'm adjusting the value. And I'm not using white to lighten it, I use cat yellow medium to lighten it. So when you lighten stuff up, try not to use white. Stay away from white if you can. It makes it chalky. What color? You know, exactly with that in there.
So if you wanted to lighten it cooler, though, what would you use?
Cooler.
If you lighten something warmer, you could use.
Well, it's all like I would like. There is a cool yellow I could use.
Like
You
lemon.
know, or I would use, it doesn't, it's more about value, right? So I would probably use like cerulean blue to go in there and start with that to lighten it, and that's a warm color. But you can cool it off, though, it's just about getting that value right and not using the white. Relying on white to lighten. Yeah, if you use Liquid, it's similar to Liquid, but Liquid is super toxic. It's bad. So don't, just, if you have that, throw it away.
Really?
Yeah. It's toxic.
That's why it's hard for me to sleep sometimes.
I've literally had sinus infections from painting because I didn't know about the terps and stuff like I do now. They're very toxic, so gotta watch it. Gotta watch that stuff.
What kind of turpentine do you use?
I use Gamsol.
How do you spell it?
Gamsol. It's by Gamblin. Gamblin makes great paint. They're a good company. And they're local, they're in Oregon. We're gonna move over to the lemon now. I'll figure that color for the shadow out. More of a greeny guy.
We can't see what colors you're using. What
I know,
colors
this
you
is,
mix
this is,
together?
I'm using the same mixture. I just added yellow to it.
Oh, okay.
And a tiny bit of cerulean to make it a little more green.
Okay.
So it's not like the orange, but it has the same colors that are in the shadows in the orange and the lemon. Giving it, not complementary, but it's a cohesive thing, so you're bringing one color into the next. What do they call that?
Blending.
No.
Harmonizing the colors?
It's gonna drive me nuts now.
You're the one that went to college for this.
I did go to college for this.
And you're not cleaning your brush off much in between changes?
No, that's harmonizing. There it is.
Okay.
Color harmony. Jeez. I need to go back to school. So I'm putting it out there. I applied for a job at Miracosta to be a drawing and painting instructor.
Yay.
I did not have a master's though. I have a BFA, but paperwork. But did the equivalency thing, so we'll see what happens.
Yay.
So I was told they want people that show and are decent at painting and drawing. And I'm like, I can do that. I've done plenty of shows. So, I'm trying to manifest it. Shadows. So now I'm using sap green for the dark on the line. And I just added that to the same yellow that I did in the lemon. Does that make sense?
Yep,
Are you with me?
yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Hold on. Just kidding. My thing is, I'm not, when I'm trying to match color and stuff, I'm not trying to get exact. I'm just trying to indicate it. I mean, if I had more time, if I was in the studio with this for a couple days, I'd get into that. Trying to match color more and stuff. But that's just my art nerdiness happening when that kicks in. So,
Did you say sap green and yellow?
yeah, but if you come up
That
here,
is dark, huh?
if you come up here, I can show you.
Okay, well, I believe you, it just says sap green and yellow would be lighter than that.
Well, I also have the orange that's in it as well. There's a little bit of the rose madder in it as well.
You're still using your.
Yeah, I'm still using, I'm going in and harmonizing, making sure it's
I got you.
harmony.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Trying to get the value going. Pushing it a little bit. So I can come back in and hit it with some reflective light or something. So now I'm going to do more of the light on the orange. Got myself some more the orange, cat orange going. Tiny bit of yellow to go in there with it. See how it works. Ooh,
Pretty.
pretty. It's almost like I know what I'm doing.
I think he's out.
Yes. Yes. Oh, great, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you.
So this is a soft edge over here because it's a foreshadow. I'm just trying to feather in a little bit of it. That's going in with a light hand and going inside it, touching the edge.
And you stayed with the same brush throughout, right?
Not with this one.
Oh,
Not this is not the, so the other one was like more the dark brush,
okay.
right? So I was using that one. Now I have a light brush. I may not use this one because I want to keep it. I'm not going to use it in all of them because I want to keep this as orange. So when I get to So I got yellow now, right? You catch yellow. Ooh, look at that! It had a bunch of orange in it. This is what happened. I want the orange in it. I don't want that much though. I just wanted a touch.
You got your pinky up again, right?
Yeah, always with the pinky up. And Reed does one too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You seem shocked.
Well, you never know when you're up on it.
It's
It's a different thing when you get back from it. But I see things because I'm looking at it, you know, from back there. Start putting some reflective light into some of it. So I'm just taking a little bit of wall color and putting it in the lemon color to get a little bit of reflective light that's hitting the lemon, so it's not so flat.
Now, if you were to leave this painting and come back to it tomorrow, would all the colors you have on now, the paint on now, pretty much be set up then?
For the most part. I mean, the cadmiums, no.
Oh,
They take a while.
different colors at different times.
Yeah. The darks more so, because there's not so much
Sure.
cad in it. Maybe it is, maybe it don't.
I did look at these ones. You ever paint with stretched canvases?
Yeah. Yep, lots. I just prefer a hard surface nowadays, so.
Do you ever use the gesso board, ampersand?
Yeah,
Do you like that?
just, yeah, sometimes it's slick.
Well, they have the gesso that's not slick, or they have the slick.
Yeah, I've only used the slick ones.
That
It's just
paint
different.
moves and moves around.
You gotta- Yeah. Oh, I hung out with Robert Lamler,
I don't know.
the painter, figurative painter. And he paint a lot on like vellum,
Mhm.
so he's
Oh, yeah.
oils, like just,
It's fun.
yeah, very different.
Mm-hmm.
Longer dry, about longer to dry.
Probably longer to dry.
Yeah, longer to dry
Yeah.
because it's a slick, hard surface.
Yeah. A lot of brush strokes and. No, they don't have to be pretty.
Did you use white there, or?
There's a little bit of white in it, yeah, just a little.
Do you have a website?
I do. It is my name, scottwpryor.com.
So Scott, are you on Instagram?
Yep, same handle, Scott W. Pryor, all my socials and stuff is Scott W. Pryor, so at Scott W. Pryor. For the time being, I'm still on Facebook,
That's
but
why
we'll
he
see how long
uses
that
that.
lasts.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a business page on there as well. If you go to my website, all my socials are connected. Questions?
Okay, again, if you were gonna stop now and come back tomorrow on this, and you wanted to, I mean, how would you start working on it again if stuff was all set up? If things were-
How, if the paint was dry? or
Yeah, if it was dry.
Just paint on top of it.
Oh, okay, you just start over taking it off.
Yeah,
I
I
tried
try
that
to
oil,
leave, no, and I try to leave some, let some of the colors underneath show through.
So you,
Just building up layers.
Building up layers.
you don't use a retouch varnish
No,
to go,
no. At the end,
yeah.
just so it gives it the overall sheen, and I try to wait till it dry.
I just, I've not tried it myself, but I've heard that when you do the retouch, it brings the colors back a little more
Well,
vibrant?
yeah, the varnish does that. That's why you should varnish your painting when they're all done, so it brings all that. Because sometimes like in darks, you're like, you lose a lot. Then you put a varnish on it, and you're like, oh,
Hello?
there is red in that brown.
That gel seems to do that to the dark
What's
colors.
that?
That gel, I tried that a couple times and it seems to do that to the darker colors.
Yeah,
Flattens them down.
yeah. And then spray it still, brings it all back.
Right.
The gel will do flatten it out. It's matted.
How, you might have just said it there, how long do you wait for varnish? I know you say to dry, but I ruined one once by varnishing.
Yeah, you got, it has to be that, at least the top layer needs to be all dry. You know, but so like at plein air events, I'll bring, depending on where I go, I'll bring a can with me. It's hard to travel with. So I'll get some, or I'll just leave it alone and I won't varnish it.
Do you like the man font or do you have all the light?
Just tomorrow, there's like the spray one by Grubhopper or whatever.
That I don't know. It's just
It's just different, they've all changed
Right.
because, you know, we have so many rules and,
who's that?
you know,
I've never had one.
we're affecting global warming whether you like it or not, you know, toxic stuff.
So if you teach at Miracasa, would you put in perspective paint as a drawing?
I would suggest perspective. Sure, I wouldn't want to teach it.
No, but, well, you should, because that's.
You should.
The roof.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I would do that as a painting class, not a drawing class. Because,
Well, your painting of the rooftops is the most spectacular thing I've ever seen.
well, that all comes thinking, that all comes from drawing, you know, so. I was an illustration major and I drew a ton, like we had to fill sketchbooks full. We had to show our sketchbooks
Sign up for the drawing class if you do one.
10 pages of crap.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, that was beautiful.
yeah, no, I will, thank you. I will, I would suggest that just because, yeah,
Speaking of your drawing ability is absolutely incredible.
thank you.
When do you do loose? Is it always really tight in your studio paintings?
Well, I mean,
Plein air or what?
I've tightened up my plein airs as well. My goal has been to have my plein air and my studio work be the same. So you can't tell what you're doing. That's the whole idea is you bring the indoors and outdoors and the outdoors indoors. So when you're working in the studio and you're working outside, that's why I work big outside. Because you're doing bigger stuff, and you're doing bigger stuff in the studio, you should do it outside too. You gotta figure it out. That way your style is similar. So my thing was like, I want you to walk into my painting, you like you're there with me. And I want it to be consistent with studio work or plein air. So I will go back to the same spot 3, 4, 5 days. When I was in Easton, it was hot. The heat index one day was 104. The next day was 107. And it was 9 in the morning. The sun's right. I'm like, I got the next half hour, and then it'll be starting. The shadow will start hitting me. But there's a short time frame though of that same light. So it's like 2 hours, same spot, 5 days in a row. And it came out great. Got an award for it. Sold it.
That was the best one.
Yeah, that's the best award ever. Paid for my trip. So
What's the largest plein air that you do?
that I've done, 30 by 40, I think, is the largest so far.
So you just went back.
Yeah, and that was during the Laguna Invitational. And so many of my friends thought I cheated because I live here. They're like, you just go home and work from home. No, assholes. I was huffing that stupid thing up the hill. Yeah, you know the spot.
Oh, up at the top?
North end on the top,
Oh.
looking south.
Oh,
That and the
Ouch.
grade on the path is like this.
How about the winds?
So, well, I had the Gloucester style, take it easy, the big one, the
Oh,
A-frame.
oh,
So I'm lugging that up with my painting and my backpack
It's a
full of
lot.
stuff. It's like,
it's schlepping a lot.
so, but that was 4 days in a row. That was, Randy Higby still has that one somewhere. Gotta watch out for these cameos, they get you.
It leaps off of the pallet.
So, exactly.
What colors that you're adding?
White. White with cad yellow and orange, and a little bit of cerulean in there too, I think. It touched the background, so that's what some of this happened, but I was gonna kind of leave it because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just paint. So there's a little bit of reflection of the colors from the yellow, lemon, and like you guys see it when I'm back there, I see it more.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna put some of that in it.
And gold.
No pressure, 5 minutes, cut. All right, we're all done. Done. Over it. Okay, questions?
Do you often leave white on your canvas?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
table?
Sometimes I do, because if it's light, yes. Because why, you don't have to paint over all of it. And it gives me a dry spot to sign
Okay.
as well. Yeah, come on over.
Do you have a particular temperature of light you use in your studio?
I try to have as neutral of a light as possible, so my goal is to have like north light. So, but I just have Home Depot, light bulbs.
The fluorescent, the long ones?
Have a cool and a natural.
Do you use those also? What you have now, the spot on your fruit, those type?
I do not use those for painting, no. I have one of those overhead lights, rev lights.
Oh,
I like that, and I have the overhead fluorescence.
and that would give you the shadows like they have there?
Well, if I'm doing a setup, I will use that light. If
Oh,
I'm
okay.
painting still lifes, I'll use that.
You sure they keep that?
Yeah.
Oh, stick his hand.
Oh, trust me, I have redone my signature on paintings many times. It's a pain in the ass. And notice the W is in there. I don't know if you guys know, there's another Scott Pryor. And he's a good painter. I met him, and so he's like, when you started, because we've been like, I get emails for him, vice versa. And so he, I went back there because he's in Northampton, Mass. And Royal Talons, who like distributes the paint, Rembrandt paint, they're in Northampton. So I went back there to work with them, see the headquarters and do all that. So we had lunch, and he's like, hey, so when you started adding your middle initial, I couldn't stop. I had to just hold back from giving you a bunch of crap. And I'm like, why? Is your middle initial W? He's like, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My middle name is Wilson.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, yeah, mine's William. So
That's, jeez.
that was a funny lunch. He's like, hey, this place serves Impossible Burgers. Have you ever had one of those? I'm like, no. He's all, do you want to go get Impossible Burgers? I'm all, sure. You know.